Some movies are highbrow, some movies are lowbrow.
Welcome to the Highbrow Lowbrow Podcast. I'm your host, Cooper Gagan.
And I'm Josh Gershenbaum.
Each week we pick a topic and talk about two movies that fit that topic, one highbrow and one lowbrow. This week the topic is time nonsense.
Time weirdness.
We were going to say time fuckery, but I think we're not allowed to say that in the podcast description.
Yeah, we think that maybe that will get us like de-algorithmed. And early on in the podcast,
De-algorithm sounds like something that could happen in one of our movies, which is Tenet is the highbrow movie. And on the lowbrow side, we've got Palm Springs.
I like that.
I'm not re-recording it.
I know we're not. And my favorite part about this is we switched. I'm doing the plot descriptions this time. And I like that you managed to fumble over a spiel, even though I got the big paragraph of one that I'm about to do.
Yeah, no, I know. I know.
All right, I'm going to do it a shot. This is my first time doing the plot descriptions. Okay, Tenet. The protagonist, I'm using air quotes, he has no name, but that's how he's credited and referred to, is doing some cool CIA stuff in Ukraine when he's recruited to a secret organization called Tenet. Turns out that someone in the future figured out how to make stuff move backwards in time, and they are up to no good. The protagonist gets some help from Neil, a cool British man, to investigate Andrei Sator, an evil Russian billionaire, who made his fortune by getting gold from the future and is working to do bad time things. Sator's wife, Kat, is trapped in an abusive marriage and wants to escape with her son, so she agrees to be a good guy. Turns out Sator is gathering the pieces of an algorithm that will reverse all time for everyone, which will end the world. The protagonist and Neil fight Sator while going backwards and forwards in time. Neil reveals that he actually knows all about the time stuff because the protagonist recruited him into Tenet, and the protagonist founded Tenet. Kat kills Sator as the boys save the world, but Neil dies even though the protagonist will meet him again for the first time. Tenet came out in 2020, was written and directed by Christopher Nolan, stars Baby Denzel, R. Pats, Henry V, Kick-Ass, and Elizabeth Debicki, who is quite tall.
She's so tall. She's the
6'3".
tallest woman in the world.
She's 6'3". That's very tall. That's not just like tall for a woman. That's just like short. She's great.
Yeah, when I wrote my version of the synopsis before we knew you were doing it, I only referred to her as the tallest woman in the world.
I just want to like I was trying to do like my own version of that joke, and I realized it's very hard to think of her without thinking of how tall she is, and it's not taking away anything from her as an actress because I think she's fantastic. I think she's very good in this movie.
Yeah,
I think she's very good in Widows is when I really started like paying attention to her. I think that movie's awesome. I don't know when we'd ever be able to do that movie on this podcast.
No idea.
I don't know what the lowbrow Widows movie is.
Black Widow?
Like Widows and Black Widow.
The one thing I will say, I very much appreciate that they don't try to hide how tall she is. Because if this was like a Tom Cruise movie, he'd be on 16 apple boxes and at eye level.
Right. Whereas John David Washington, Baby Denzel, is, we looked it up, he's only 5'9", and they just let her tower over him, and that's fine. Yeah. And they're just like, yeah, people are different sizes, just like in real life in Tenet.
Yeah, that's actually progress in a very minimal way.
Right. It's a small baby step, but it's the future we want to live in. All right. Let's talk about Palm Springs. Palm Springs. Sarah is the problem child maid of honor at her sister's wedding in, you guessed it, Palm Springs. She goes into the desert to hook up with Niles after he bails her out of a terrible maid of honor speech. He's attacked by a crazy man and runs into a glowing cave. After she follows him in there, she discovers she's trapped in a time loop, reliving the same day over and over. Niles has been there a really long time, super nihilistic about it. The crazy man is Roy, who Niles accidentally brought into the time loop and occasionally hunts him for sport to get revenge. I realize that the way I said that is unclear. Roy is the one hunting Niles in this case. Sarah and Niles fuck around with the time loop for a while till they sleep together. We learn that Sarah slept with the groom the night before, so she has to wake up every morning on the worst mistake of her life. She and Niles get into a fight. Roy interrupts. Sarah kills Roy. Sarah disappears. Niles goes through the loop for himself for a while. Very sad about it. Gets a pep talk from Roy. Sarah comes back with a way to get out of the time loop. She was studying physics day after day. They confess their love for each other and escape. Palm Springs came out in 2020. It was written by Siara and directed by Max Barbakow. It stars Lonely Island, Your Mother, Whiplash, Veronica Lodge, Superman, and Sandy Cohen.
Interesting that you framed Kristen Milioti as the main character.
Right, because we open the movie with Niles.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely co-leads, but yes. You're from his POV for the first third of the movie. Maybe.
Exactly. But because I wrote it that way at first, and I realized that what's fun about the movie, or at least about the opening of the movie, is it's all from Niles' perspective, but you only have the information that Sarah, that Kristen Milioti has.
That's true, and you do have a couple kind of Rashomon moments where like when, spoiler, then a time loop, when she first gets put in the time loop, you see the scene from his perspective, and it goes back in time a little bit, and you see the whole scene from her perspective when she's throwing the cans at him in the pool.
Right. I mean, it's very, especially because the time loop stuff starts, like our eyes in is her, and the inciting incident is her going in. Like the movie starts and he's been in there. We never see how he got into the time loop. They never even gets hinted at, really. It just sort of happened, right?
They never really mention it.
I mean, it's cool. It's a cool choice.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's sort of why I had to write it from Sarah's perspective, because otherwise it was just like super, super long.
Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense. It was just kind of something I wouldn't have thought of writing it that way.
Oh, yeah, because the movie is very Andy Samberg heavy, which is probably its greatest quality. I think Andy Samberg, I mean, we talked about it on last week's pod.
He's so good.
He's just so funny.
Okay. When he gets shot by the arrow and then he runs away from J.K. Simmons, he just does that little funny high-kneed run that he does.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, if you've ever seen people getting hit in the face just for eating, he does that run a lot in that. And also, I don't know why, but today's going to be a great day. That one,
yeah.
where it's just he's on coke.
We should probably, like, when we write up all the show notes and we put in just fun things, we should probably just put a link to, like, every Lonely Island skit and every Lonely Island movie just in the show notes.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
They're all good. So I'm pretty excited to talk about these movies because we both love Palm Springs.
This is my 6th viewing of Palm Springs.
Right. It is
then quickly followed by my 7th because I just watched it again.
I always joke it's one of like 9 movies that Cooper likes. And Tenet is a movie that I think we both found frustrating for reasons that I think are interesting.
So Josh and I are working in the same office right now, in the same bullpen, and I just came into the office yelling about Tenet, and we had to calm ourselves down so we wouldn't run out of stuff to talk about.
Cooper was so upset by Tenet that he forgot that we were not recording Tenet until this episode. He came into the last week, like literally the hour I was driving to the recording studio. And I had to text him like, "Hey, you ready to discuss, School of Rock and Bohemian Rhapsody?" And he's like, "Fuck."
Yeah,
that's the frustration that has built for you for this movie.
I was just during the movie texting Josh, "Fuck this movie. I hate this movie. Fuck this bullshit."
I don't think I have the same hatred for this movie. I think I'm very frustrated by the decisions that it makes. I mean, it's definitely one of those things like I'm not mad. It's like I'm not mad. I'm disappointed, but I'm like pretty disappointed.
I was frustrated because inside of this movie there is a good movie.
There's like 5 good movies inside this movie.
Because like, okay, my like semi hot take is that this movie would be greatly improved by just cutting out every single scene with backward shit, and then you have a solid like 90-minute movie in there.
Well, why don't we talk about that? Because the backward stuff, it's on my list.
How does backward shit work?
Well, here's my thing: is that I think the movie, when I was watching it, the note I kept making whenever there was backward shit is like, I assume this is very well thought out, but it moves too quickly that I don't grok it.
I started off thinking that. Nice use of grok.
Thank you.
I started off thinking that, and then I quickly was like, I don't think they thought this through at all. Like, how does any of this shit work after the immediate scene? Like, that the fucking janitor who's cleaning up that opera house, and they're like, you see, the problem is that you must have already spackled the bullet hole. It's like, if I've already spackled the bullet hole, I'd be home by now, you stupid French scientist woman.
Well, see, that's the issue, is that like whether or not it makes sense, you need to convince the audience that you know it makes sense. And I think the two things this movie, I don't understand everything that happened in this movie.
You don't?
And maybe even if you told me,
you could,
even if like the voice of God came down and said, "Josh, it all makes sense," I would say that's great, but I'm not like getting it scene to scene. Like it moves too fast that I'm not able to sit back and marvel about all the complicated stuff they figured out with time. You know, like the Inception fight.
I have parallels to Inception, because in Inception, my big thing about Inception is that I like that movie a lot. I still think it's a good movie, but I think fundamentally everything in Limbo doesn't make any goddamn sense. I think it just breaks down completely, even within like the pretty loose logic you have to have for a time travel movie, or for a dream movie or whatever, any alternate world movie. It just doesn't work anymore. And this movie is like that, those like 20 minutes, but a whole movie.
Right. So that's a very good point. I think that but what's really strong about Inception is the rules it sets for the action, right? Mm-hmm. So like when the van is rolling around one level up to the dream below, gravity's being weird.
Oh,
right?
yeah, you can track it all.
Right. So when they have that fight scene in the hallway in Inception, right? Like with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and the Faceless Man or
Yeah.
whatever. Like the reason that's so great is that you understand like, oh, what's about to happen, what the rules are, when gravity is weird, like, oh, gravity's weird and they're fighting, and you just like get it.
Yeah.
Now the hallway fight in Tenet, which I have to imagine is like a conscious attempt to like show off that same muscle.
Yeah, right. That's a scene that I imagine they thought it through a lot, and it does make some sort of sense, but
Right.
it doesn't read as interesting. It's not that fun to watch the backwards fighting,
Yeah.
and then B, I don't think it makes any sense.
Right. It's like watching a sport you don't understand. It's like watching like F1 and like someone telling you like what that person just did is like remarkable and is so hard to do, and you just have to kind of nod and say like I understand that, but without any context, without any.
Is this what my girlfriends have all thought when I'm watching like a foreign film with them? I'm like, no, this is very cool. This was like very exciting in the 60s. They're like, okay, cool. It's in black and white and not in English. I'm not having a good time.
It's like, you don't understand if you just like get it.
Yeah. Nobody was doing this before.
Anyway, that's like the thing about the movie, the backward stuff is that, I mean, the movie just moves too fast, and I think part of that is there's so much in it. I think there's a lot of really cool things in the movie. I think the scene where John David Washington, the protagonist,
Who is great.
who is very good, we love him, very
Like,
exciting.
He's a star.
Oh,
And
yeah.
It helps that he's Denzel's son, and like it's
Has a
not like he
beautiful
got
face.
plucked out of nowhere. He is beautiful.
Yeah.
And he's just great, but he's really good.
Oh yeah, I think he's very good, and he's good for this role. I think like it's one of those things. I feel like people sometimes like, oh well, he wasn't given that much to do, but like I think this is an example of like the character is not given much to do as like a character, but John David Washington brings
He's a
like
very
that
stoic guy.
right, and John David Washington just leans into that, and
Yeah.
like does it very well, and like knows when to like just hit the beats that Nolan needs him to. The scene where he first like goes backwards, you know, which is supposed to be like one of the big set pieces of the movie. That's when I think the backward stuff really clicked for me, because like there's a scene
Right before the car chase.
yes, where he first puts on the little the mask.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So because Aaron Taylor Johnson goes to him and is like, okay, here are the rules. You got to put on this mask. Things are gonna look weird like this. They're gonna do that, and he steps out, and there's like a 3-minute, like maybe a minute and a half of just him walking around.
Wind is backwards. Fire is cold.
Right.
If you drink a Red Bull, it'll make you super sleepy and have to take a nap.
Yeah, exactly. But like, whether or not that's nonsense or not, which it probably is, but like you've told me the rules, you give me a second to understand them. I'm like, okay, I'm on board. This is great. But so much of the movie just moves so fast that I'm just like, I'm not one of those guys who's gonna like rewatch this movie 7 times and a YouTube video to tell me that it makes sense.
Yeah.
I just want to know that. I just want like Daddy Nolan to be like, don't worry, everything, just enjoy the action. It's all good.
Yeah,
And I feel like the movie
you don't
didn't-
want Primer.
right. If I wanted to watch Primer, I'd watch Primer. It's 80 minutes.
Yeah.
Tenet
And a
is-
great movie.
Right. I could watch Primer twice in the time it takes me to watch Tenet.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. I mean, back-to-back Primer would give me a headache.
Yeah. I mean, there's a point where it'd just be the same as watching Primer once.
Diminishing Primer returns.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tenet. And whereas Palm Springs, it's like
Oh, a delightful romp.
delightful wrong. Very straightforward rules. And they lay them out very quickly.
It does benefit from a much simpler premise.
Right. It's very much. I mean, we've seen it. It's Groundhog Day. It's Russian Doll or Russian Doll. The rules are weirder, but I don't know, other time loop.
Time
movies.
loops, there's a handful of them.
There's a bunch.
It's like a micro genre at this point. I remember when this movie was released, we were like, "Oh, are time loops coming back as a genre?"
Right.
Was there another one at that time?
There was there was the short film Two Distant Strangers that won Best Short at the Oscars. That's a
Right.
time loop.
Yeah.
And I think there's a Twilight Zone episode, a new one, and there's a Marlon Wayans movie where he wakes up in an elevator naked, and that's a time loop movie. And
Right.
it's called Naked. I don't think anyone saw that movie.
And I guess Russian Doll was only maybe a year or two before that.
Right. Yeah. Russian Doll, I think was 2018, and this was late 2018, this early 2020, so like a year and a half.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly, our fans, I'm sure, will flame me on our Reddit boards for getting that
When
wrong.
when we make them and acquire fans.
and am our own fans.
Yeah. When I tell my mom how to use Reddit.
Yes, the browsers, right? That's what we're calling them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the browsers, or the browheads. I like them both.
The browser.
We'll let the fans decide.
Yeah. Well,
Let us know when you rate, review, and subscribe.
name yourselves, guys.
We know you're out there. Not as we record, because this is to date we have not released an episode. Yeah, Palm Springs, delightful romp. I mean,
I'm trying. Is there like any interesting? Okay, so the cave thing is kind of a twist because I'm thinking of what twist on the genre is there? Is there like a hook to this other than it being a like modern time loop thing?
I wouldn't say like a big
Multiple
twist.
people in the time loop.
Multiple people in the time loop's probably one.
Adding people.
Although Russian Doll did that.
True.
The
fact that it's a rom-com is the hook.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's like the sell.
But in terms of mechanics,
no, I think it's pretty straightforward, and I think that's to its credit. I mean, that's the lowbrow of it all.
yeah. Well, I also think the lowbrow is the rom-com,
Right, and
the com. Just that it's a comedy at all.
Right. I mean, we should talk about why we decided which movie is lowbrow and which was highbrow.
Because there has been some debate about this. Our friend Michael,
friend of the show,
future guest, past and future guest, but only future guest.
Past and future guest if you're doing time backwards.
Yeah. If you're going through our discography backwards.
If you're doing a Tenet.
Yeah.
He mentioned that he thought it was the other way around. The Tenet is the lowbrow movie because it's a big summer blockbuster.
And then Palm Springs is kind of like an indie darling.
Right. It was a Sundance movie that sold and was released and all that stuff. You know, he mentioned it had the same trajectory as just, you know, it's a movie that we could, you know, freaking Little Miss Sunshine, you know, is the quintessential modern Sundance movie example.
Which is a very defensible take.
Yeah.
But I would say that Tenet desperately wants to be highbrow. Maybe it's just because it feels so serious all the time.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think I mentioned this before we started recording, but to me, I think Palm Springs is a lowbrow movie. And again, I really want to. Lowbrow doesn't mean bad. Lowbrow, highbrow, just different mode.
No, right from the jump, Palm Springs is a better movie than Tenet. Fuck Tenet. I hate that movie. I'm so mad that I've seen it twice.
I don't hate it, but like I said, was frustrated. Palm Springs, I think is better. But Palm Springs is a lowbrow movie that often flirts with being a highbrow movie. It has moments where it like,
they get into existential questions and they do it they don't hide it too much that they are dealing with existential questions. The characters overtly talk about it.
Right. It's willing to be a little stranger and weirder and more brainy than maybe the most lower brow. More, you know, if this was set up at Universal with Will Ferrell, and by the way, not knocking Universal specifically, you know, it's a studio. But Tenet, I think, is a highbrow movie that flirts with being a lowbrow movie. Yeah. I think it's a very...
Well, it is an action movie. And action is pretty inherently lowbrow just because, like, the satisfaction of it comes from action, from stunts, from kind of gratuitous stuff.
Right. I mean, an action movie will tend to be lowbrow because it's building its experience about delivering those set pieces and not as much about, like, you know, in a good faith exploration of ideas or feelings.
Yeah. I say Tenet, they do get a little bit into, the characters discuss a little bit kind of the existential consequences and ramifications of backwards bullshit.
Yeah.
But then it kind of gets into like a weird environmentalist message, which is like, I mean, I believe in environmentalism, but I often find movies that have that specific message to be annoying about it.
Yeah, I think I want to circle back to the environmental stuff because I do think it gets to something that I think is almost a good point.
Yeah.
But to the highbrow lowbrow, I think Tenet is trying to be inaccessible, or it's not trying to be accessible.
Very much so.
It wants you to work for it. It's not willing to explain everything. I mean, the main character is called the protagonist.
I hate that.
I mean, that's such a highbrow move. It's such a like artsy move.
It's such like it's like an art school move. Like, it's like the most like obvious like bullshit. Like, just give him a name. If this, and also like this movie isn't about like storytelling. If he was like a writer who then we learn as protagonist, maybe that has some sort of thematic significance, but it doesn't matter in this movie for him to be called the protagonist. It's just like it being clever for the sake of being clever.
Yeah, that was my feeling as well. Is like I wanted it to be more. He doesn't necessarily have to be a writer, although that would be one.
I mean, that's kind of on the nose, but
if the movie was about the stories you tell, like even something like The Sting is about like putting on roles and acting, right?
Yeah,
like
love that movie.
Right. I mean, if there was a character named the protagonist, that'd be weird because that's not what that movie does.
Yeah.
Or you know, like I'm trying to think just other movies that are kind of about telling stories. I mean, like The Artist,
or like adaptation.
Yeah, like that would make some sense. Whereas in this movie, whereas there's a lot on Nolan's mind with Tenet, I don't think that the like artificiality of stories or about the value of narrative, like any of that stuff, meta stuff, is not really it's not one of the things I picked up.
Yeah, I think you could have a reading on it about that, but I don't think it's really built into the movie because like you could kind of get into maybe there's some stuff with like art and like what art means and like fake versus real, like counterfeit art versus real art and how the counterfeit art has more power over these characters than real art does.
Yeah,
which is kind of interesting. Gets into like the artistic process a little bit, but that's not really what the movie's about.
It's definitely not what the movie is enjoying doing.
Yeah.
The movie really seems mostly interested in when it's at its strongest when it's about the friendship between Neil, R. Pattinson, and the protagonist.
R. Pats.
Can I stop saying the protagonist? Can I just say Baby Denzel or John David
I'm
Washington?
only going to call him Denzel Jr.
Okay. All right, that's cool. Yeah, it's not a baby anymore.
Oh, he's a man.
That's a grown-ass man.
He has the thickest beard. I think he must have that beard filler stuff in his beard. Or it's like a beard wig.
It's all CGI.
Yeah, probably. But there is that like kind of like beard filler stuff you can like spray in that I think... Because that like lineup on his beard is just so straight.
It's great.
There's no way.
He's so good in Black Klansman, too.
Oh.
That's a really good movie.
He's also in... What's that movie? It's like My Dear Andre, but it was Zendaya.
Oh, Malcolm and Marie.
Yeah.
And actually, it's more Virginia Woolf than My Dinner with Andre.
Yeah, you're right.
Sorry, I'm very defensive of My Dinner with Andre because that movie fucking rules.
So does Virginia Woolf. You know what doesn't rule?
What? Malcolm and Marie?
Malcolm and Marie. And I like Denzel Jr. I don't think his character is very well written in that movie. Zendaya is just a wet fart. I'm sure she's a fine person.
She is.
Somebody should tell her how to act. She's just there.
I worked on a movie that she was in, and the very few times we interacted, she was lovely. I thought she was great, and I have nothing bad to say about her.
Yeah, she can do other stuff than acting. It's just like they kind of just like push her onto a set and are like, be Zendaya. She's like, what does that mean? They're like, we don't know either. And then they just film for a bit, and then they edit her around. And they're like, look, she's a fucking remarkable.
I've not seen Malcolm and Marie. I can't.
People like her in Euphoria. I imagine it's because she just has to play a person on drugs, which is just a person standing around doing nothing, which is what she does in all of her other movies.
I have not seen Euphoria either. It's one of those things where like it's like very early on I was like, either I'm gonna like get into this immediately, or I'm just gonna decide this doesn't exist just because there's too much fucking TV.
Yeah, I was like, it's kind of buzzy. It seems like Skins. I just like Skins. I would just watch that again.
Yeah. What, isn't Drake a producer on it?
Is he?
I think so. That might be why I avoided it, because that was right in the midst of like the Drake Pusha T wars, and like clearly I'm team Push all day.
Well, yeah, and you have been highly vindicated on that. Some other shady shit has come out about Drake
recently.
Wasn't he like DMing underage girls or something?
Oh yeah.
I'm going to get attacked by Drake's lawyers.
You're going to get attacked by Drake.
A SWAT team is going to come in through the window right now.
I think there was that he was texting like Millie Bobby Brown, Stranger Things.
I think that was part of a greater drama with Drake.
Like he was texting, but it wasn't like he wasn't texting weird things. He was like wanting to be friends with them, and that's weird enough, certainly.
I mean, that is very strange.
Right. There wasn't like I don't know. Drake's fine. He makes he makes music for children.
Josh Kirschenbaum, Drake apologist.
Obviously, Drake may have come out with like 7 albums since the last one of his I listened to.
Probably has.
Last one I really listened to was Nothing Was the Same, which I think is a pretty good album.
I've never really listened to an album his top to bottom. I listened to Nice for What on repeat for like 3 weeks because it's a good ass song.
I don't know. I don't listen to Drake anymore. Team Push for life.
Yeah, King Push is our man. Saw him live.
Oh, great. Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like listening to Pusha T. I mean, if Pusha T was in Tenet, it would be better.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That'd be awesome.
Bringing it back to the topic. Bringing this back.
Who would would he replace somebody? If he was the oligarch.
If he was Sator.
If he was Sator.
And they keep calling him like Andre Sator. And it's just Push.
Yes. I would be into that. I mean, that actor is good. Like
it's Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, I don't want to replace him.
No, he's fantastic.
All the actors are good in that movie. There's nobody I would really want to replace.
I think Pusha T would most easily replace Michael Caine in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because Michael Caine just shows up and like says like, I'm a baller. Here's some baller shit you got to do. Yeah. And that's like basically Pusha T.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Or the red herring arms dealer who's just the husband.
Which one's that?
He goes to India. They slingshot up the building. There's like the guy
that was just Push.
Yeah,
that would be great.
Although I think Michael Caine is like Pusha T just being like, "This is how you should be fucking fly." I would buy that from Push.
Or write Push into the movie. The movie's good, but just give another character in there.
Yeah, Needs more push. That's our review.
Yeah, Tenet, Palm Springs. Time shit.
Palm Springs. Does Palm Springs need more push?
No, I don't. I think Pusha T would break that movie.
Yeah. If he was like that
It's just
shithead officiant is too good.
No.
Okay, you know who has some of the best line readings in that movie?
Who?
Is the girlfriend. Who just says, wait,
yes.
what? Like,
Yes.
4 times, and it is so good.
She, her name was like Meredith Hadler or something like that.
She's in something coming up.
She's in Vacation Friends, which just came out. It's like her and John Cena, and then
I like John Cena.
They're like the weird vacation friends that this normal couple meet. I think Lil Rel is the main.
I like Lil Rel too.
I haven't heard anything about. I think I've heard some good things. I don't know about. But no, she's great. Speaking of guys in this movie who just rule, Peter Gallagher.
Oh, the most powerful eyebrows in the game.
I made a note because I kept
Sandy from the OC for all my OC heads out there.
Let me find my my note on this because I specifically think Peter Gallagher's like thing in this movie is that whatever happens, he just leans into it as the first one to respond every time.
Yeah,
like,
this dentist does teeth.
Like when the bride falls, like he's the first one to jump on it.
Yeah.
When they do the joke of like there's a bomb in the cake.
I used to be a bomb guy.
Right, and then like Peter Gallagher is up there and he's like, put the weapon down. You know. It's when Niles accuses Abe of cheating on the
he's
bride.
let's take a walk.
Yeah, he's the one who comes up and he's like, "Is this true?" Like,
yeah,
like Peter Gallagher's thing that he's
such a good dad.
The first guy to be engaged with this stuff is such a funny bit.
Yeah,
and he's so good in it.
Also, in the part where the blonde girlfriend, the actress's name, when she says, like, we know these little freaks don't have any problem there. We're just talking about them fucking. And then Peter Gallagher and his wife just have a nice little look. They're just like, they're not upset about it. They're just like, why is she doing this?
Oh man, it's such a great like little ensemble. While we're on the ensemble, I love the groom is Superman on Superman and Lois right now.
Okay,
like Tyler Hoechlin, he's great. I like that he's like very like. I don't know. Just thought he was like very sad. I don't know. Like when she gets accused of cheating, and she's just like, it's like, or no, when she goes to him and she's like,
oh, he starts crying. She's like, okay, I can't deal with this.
Yeah, he's like, we're terrible people and we can't do this. She's like, you're right. I'm just like my father.
And then she leaves.
The bartender who's just like super
really
intense.
Yeah, when she's jerking him off, just like, I almost hit a man in this car. Which is just gonna be us quoting the entire movie.
Yeah, and last one, I think Brian O'Malley is the guy's name, the guy who plays just like the friend who's always just really intense and gross.
Oh wait, that guy's really funny too.
Yeah,
he's on a lot of really good second string acting in this.
Yeah, they really filled it out, and I think surface level praise. Funny people doing funny shit.
Yeah.
Deeper level praise. Something I really love about this movie is that it really hits that vibe of weddings.
I was just gonna say that. Also, like I've been to like 4 weddings this year. I'm gonna go to another 3.
Yeah.
Because it's like all the weddings got canceled, got pushed for COVID, and then like things opened up, so those weddings got rescheduled on top of everybody else who wants to get married now because they got like engaged during COVID or whatever. So it's just all stacking up and wall-to-wall weddings. I'm sick of them.
Yeah.
This movie really captures that horror.
And the feeling of, just the repetitiveness of like, that weird...
Yeah, weddings are repetitive. It's like the same set of rituals you do every time.
And that weird feeling of you're a little bit bored by it because, maybe you're not super connected to it and like you've seen this a million times. But for the people watching, it's the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
Just like, for Niles, he's watching them get married every time and they're like crying and it's so emotional. And he's like, seen it.
Yeah.
It's so good at hitting that like vibe.
And also the vibe of going to a wedding as an outsider because he's the boyfriend. I like the bit how people keep on asking him who he is. He doesn't have to explain who he is.
Yeah.
Because like I've been to one wedding where it's just my girlfriend at the time's friend's wedding and I knew almost nobody there. And that's like a really weird. It's kind of fun. It's like going to your friend's house for like Thanksgiving where you kind of get to like do whatever you want because it's not your family, not your friends.
Yeah.
But it's also like a weird, like it's all these like everyone's like has these very personal anecdotes that you don't really know about. Everyone knows each other, so that's an interesting thing.
Oh yeah, and the other note on the weddings I wanted to get is that the weirdness of like this ensemble, it reflects like just the weird people you meet at weddings.
Yeah,
like weddings is just like you end up talking to a bunch of people you don't know, like you're outside of your bubble, and it's just like one representative from a bunch of different bubbles. it's just a lot of just like human weirdness that I think like Palm Springs, the movie, just like really nails.
Yeah, like when you're talking to somebody for a while and you assume they're like know the bride and groom pretty well, and it's just like somebody from their work they invited out of politeness, and you're like, oh, why am I talking to you, really?
Yeah, I was once at a wedding and I ended up with a conversation for like an hour with someone. I was like, oh, how do you know them? It's like, oh, I was at a movie theater once and I was sitting behind them and like I was laughing really loud and they're like, you want to come sit with me because it's a quiet theater? And then like they became friends, and that was like 3 months ago.
Wow, how big was this wedding?
Quite small, actually. It actually was a really lovely wedding, but it was very off kilter.
Yeah. Actually, wait, at that wedding I went to where I was I was Misty's boyfriend at that wedding. The one of the groomsmen fainted in the middle of the ceremony. And it was very dramatic. Like, and they were doing, it wasn't the vows, but it was like some kind of secondary part of the ceremony. He just drops. The bride screams and runs over to him, and everyone's freaking out. And then like a fire alarm goes off for some reason. Like somebody pulled a fire alarm, and like paramedics took him out. It was the most dramatic thing I've seen at a wedding.
That's fun. I mean, not fun for the.
He was okay, so it's fun.
I mean, I'm just more. The bride and the groom were probably a little bummed.
Yeah,
they got upstaged.
It is a good story for their wedding.
I mean, that's what we would think about it. I think a lot of brides and grooms would be more like, my perfect day is ruined.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. We're not married.
No,
we'll see. I think time stuff. Get into the theme of all that is that
never makes sense.
Never makes sense. Oh, in Palm Springs or Tenet?
Ever in any time travel movie
except Primer.
I think
we think, yeah.
I have to get my spreadsheet out, but yes.
I think you have to always put that asterisk that Primer is the one time travel movie where it all tracks.
Yeah.
And everything else, you're just kind of using the time stuff to do things.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you actually saying?
I was actually just going to say, I just want to talk a little bit about like the theme of like time and this and that. And I think we talked a little bit how Palm Springs does it, where basically the themes here a little bit the repetitive day to day. You have to find your own joy, a little bit of the Groundhog Day stuff. Just the monotony. You're finding love in the monotony of things. There's relationship stuff in there.
And also how relationships can kind of get repetitive. Like he has the line where he's like, we're already sick of each other and it's great.
Yeah.
And also like how, I don't know, it's like when you're first start off a relationship and you kind of get past that point where you're going only on dates.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of just hanging out a lot.
Yeah.
And that's like every day is kind of the same, but you also like it because you just want to be around them as much as possible.
Yeah.
So it's really that like kind of original, like, first like honeymoon phase of relationship is kind of like that time loopiness because you're kind of just doing the same shit hanging out every day.
And I think that's what's clever about Palm Springs. I think that's what makes it like a very effective lowbrow movie is that it takes that idea of like, finding joy in the monotony, tells it in like a very straightforward way. Tells like, I think it's a very tight, like I would say like perfect screenplay, but like it's a very like well written, like from a structural.
Yeah, structurally very tight.
Oh yeah. And it does that story well. I think, there's like the bigger existential stuff of, like, what do you do when you're faced with just like the inescapable void of time? Like, because nothing really matters in real life.
Yeah, he has this line about how like pain does matter.
Right. The things we do to people matter because we have to live with it.
Yeah. And like that's like even them causing pain, the memory of that exists with them afterwards. And that's the ramifications of it.
Yeah. And that's all done like very incidentally, but like very fun.
Yeah, and it is taken seriously by the characters in the moment.
Yeah.
But in funny scenes, like he's bleeding from the eye after like getting punched by a cop. Oh my God. Her line, "Suck my dick, officer bitch," I laugh at every time really hard. And also, "I'm touching your bike" is really funny.
Also, we should spend at least a second talking about how fucking great Kristen Milotti is in this movie.
She's so good. She's good she's just very funny. I loved her in that Black Mirror episode she's in.
Yeah, the USS Callister.
Yeah. Also very, very good in Fargo too.
Oh yeah, I forgot she was in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that season is like she's very good, but she's like maybe not even top 10 in that season.
She's a minor character.
Yeah.
And she's also, that's not a comedy role for her. She's just very good playing it straight.
Yeah. I mean, she's good in the last season of How I Met Your Mother, although obviously that season has its weirdness.
Yeah. And she's a very minor part of it. No,
she's in it.
Yeah, you're right. She's a major part of
it. The
game
they do is that she is, doing bits with the rest of the cast, but she never actually runs into Ted.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's fine. We don't have to relitigate How I Met Your Mother. We're certainly not the ones qualified. Well, no, we did. We rewatched it over COVID.
Yeah, did we get to the end?
No,
I don't think we got all the way through.
Really, we hit a wall at around like season 6 or 7, maybe 7, because I think it goes to 9
Something like that. And then are some bunch of cast members missing in the last season? Is it like that 70s show Scrubs situation?
I think the core 5 are generally there.
Is Jason Segel gone?
No, he's definitely still there.
Okay.
I think there may be some episodes where they like lose him so we could like film shit.
Yeah.
But I couldn't say. Anyway, Kristen Milioti's so funny in this movie. She's such a good like match for Andy Samberg's like very jokey energy.
Yeah.
That she's just like, he just kind of makes fun of everything, especially himself, because life is meaningless. And she's just like mad and ripping on him for that. And he's like, yeah, no, that's the point. And it's a great little cycle they're in.
But I also like that her character is funny as a person. Like, within the character, she is funny on purpose.
Right, exactly.
And I love it when characters just get to be funny on purpose.
Right, because
which is also hard to write.
Right. I mean, she's the straight man here, but they give her a lot of funny shit to do. Like, she's a straight man in that, like, obviously Niles has been in there so long, so she has to be the eyes into it. But, like, yeah, they give her so much funny stuff to do. She's so funny in it.
Yeah, I mean, her character has a lot of, like, funny jokes as a character, like the 1 millionth birthday, suck my dick, officer bitch.
Yeah.
Like, and then she's kind of leading the charge with, like, the beginning Act 2 kind of fun and game stuff with, like, them in the plane and all that sort of thing. Because she's the one that really leans into wanting to do fun stuff.
Right, because he's been through it all already.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's, I guess, the theme of the movie is, like, maybe you've seen it all, but you seeing it all with someone else makes it better.
Yeah.
With life.
Yeah, I mean, it really does, like, the wedding is the backdrop for it. It has interesting stuff to say about weddings, but it really gets into what it's like to be in a new relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's exactly like a really big strength of the movie. I mean, it's and like you said, such a good rom-com. I mean, there's not...
Yeah.
Rom-coms are in a weird place culturally right now.
It's just primarily on Netflix now.
And mostly in these kind of... Mostly teen rom-coms, I feel like.
Yeah.
A lot of like Till All the Boys and The Kissing Booth. Like, that's like, those are the big franchises.
Well, then there was also that weird little mini resurgence with Set It Up.
Yes, that was like a big one.
And there was another one.
There was Ibiza was another one.
Ibiza, yeah. I kind of liked Ibiza.
I didn't see it.
It's whatever.
I mean,
I liked it better than Set It Up. I could not make it through Set It Up.
Set It Up was one of those ones where there was so much hype in like the Hollywood assistant community because it was about Hollywood assistant, or just about assistants in general, that I just didn't want to live. I mean, I'm traumatized from being an assistant in Hollywood, and I don't want to fucking deal with that again.
Yeah. I also think people were just so excited for there to be just a straightforward rom-com that they were willing to like overlook a lot.
Yeah.
Which is my theory about horror fans in every prestige horror movie, where it's just like there's so many bullshit horror movies that like whenever someone's like, this one is such a good, it's like not only a good horror movie, it's just a good movie. I'm like, okay, we'll see, buddy.
We don't have time to litigate that, especially.
No.
It's funny because rom-coms, and I guess we should get to it eventually, but rom-coms are this weird thing because I remember in around 2007, 2008, there's an article in the New York Times that was like, the rom-coms we're getting are so repetitive and so expected and so not exceptional. So
that is the hallmark of rom-com.
And the point of it was like we should demand more from our rom-coms because the great ones are so great. And then weirdly, I remember a few months later, the New York Times wrote an article about superhero movies, and it was superhero movies are everywhere and they're all so expected and so formulaic and so not exceptional. So we should stop making superhero movies. And I remember reading that and being in like 17, being like, hold on there, buddy.
That's pretty funny.
But the point just being that like I think rom-coms are just in this point where they became overexposed and they weren't doing interesting things. And I think really great rom-coms, like really great horror movies or really great superhero movies, can be really... The medium lets you do really interesting, fun things.
Yeah.
But it often does not.
But I think that is inherent to having such a formulaic medium, which is like when you have, I mean, it's like TV, where it's like because TV is so structured that anytime you play with that structure at all, it's very noticeable.
I think it gives you a base. It gives you a strong foundation so that you can build weird things on top of it and the thing won't fall over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Palm Springs is a good one. Palm Springs is a great rom-com.
Yeah.
We should get more of that.
It's just I mean, it's funny because I kind of forgotten how satisfying it can be just to see people like falling in love, which is like really like most of the appeal of rom-coms is that it's just nice to see, people like starting a new relationship, partly because like it's nice to be in a new relationship and you don't get to experience that often, especially if you're in a relationship for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't if you're in a relationship.
No,
time.
Yeah. It's a whole different kind of movie.
No, I agree. Good rom-coms.
Tenet.
I want to talk about Tenet because we were talking a lot about pivoting back fucking 30 minutes now. Palm Springs, it gets on those themes of, just repetitive time. What do you do? Face the void. Tenet, I think, has that in there. There is this weird nihilism of like, we have like the bad guys are trying to turn back all time because they fucked up and the future sucks.
Yeah. So,
and that's the environmental stuff. But I read it more of a like, just like the fear of just like fading away, like the fear of like time, because time marches on, we all die, eternity goes on forever, and just like, the main character is just like faced with that and like knowing he's going to die anyway, just wants to destroy everything.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. This is a little nitpick where when he's like, everyone in the world will die, and the tallest woman in the world is like, including my son. I'm like, yeah, we knew, you didn't have to say that. We all knew that. I know you knew that. How dumb do you think I am as a viewer?
Here, let me show you my note on that.
Okay. Including my fucking son. In all caps, bold.
Yeah, okay. So let's zoom out because I hate that fucking line. It's I understand why it's there. Because
they think we're morons.
Because you want to have the big stakes and the personal stakes,
yes.
right? You want to have the world is at stake and my baby is at stake. Because
yes.
the world is bad, but the person you like dying is like,
Yeah, for sure. It's like, yeah, the nuke's gonna go off, but also like my sister is in that city with the nuke.
So I think like Michael Bay understands weirdly well. Whenever there's like a disaster, he always cuts to like the people in the city. And like it's just like a basic thing that you have to do.
I guess it's the thing is that in that situation with the nuke and the sister next to the nuke, there are still people in the world who will not die from the nuke, and you have to make sure that that person is included there.
Right.
In this one, the entire world will die.
Including her son.
Yes. But it's fairly implied. It's not actually new information.
Well, that I think is sort of one of the things about this movie that's a little overcooked is that it really wants... There's a story in here of Elizabeth Debicki's character trapped in this abusive marriage.
Which is interesting.
It is interesting with her wanting to get her son out of there, trapped by this weird art forgery scheme.
And that interesting little moment where she talks about how she considered leaving her son, even if not seriously.
Right. So that story is in there. And I think the movie really wants to do right by that and wants her to be the emotional like stakes.
Right.
And I think the movie is just too busy for that to make sense. So it keeps pushing it to the forefront. And the movie needed to have less in it.
See, this is my pitch of if you get rid of all the backwards traveling stuff and then you have a pretty good James Bond movie where he's trying to save this woman with like the art, with like the fake art and the sun and the weird and like
that's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a solid movie, and maybe you have like the one backwards bullet in there just to put a little English on it. Like if it was a normal James Bond movie and then one guy has a backwards bullet and you're like, that was weird. Where'd that come from? He must have backwards technology. Let's move on with trying to save this woman.
If you try to convince me that was the plot of Octopussy, I'd be like, sure, fine. Why not?
Yeah. No, Octopussy is way more insane than that. That's the one with like the circus performers.
I haven't seen Octopussy. We spent like an hour today yelling about James Bond. I don't want to do that. Well, we could do that.
We could do that, but I mean, it bears mentioning that this feels like Nolan's stab at a James Bond film.
Right.
I think that he's like expressed that he wanted to make one, right?
I think there's been like talks. I think like there have been a couple times when they were moving directors like, will Nolan do it? He loves James Bond. Obviously, I think the fact that he has a basically gets a blank check from anyone else, and with Bond you have to collaborate with a lot of producers who've been there a long time,
right? But like this, it's very stylish. Most of my notes are about how this whole movie feels like a giant like GQ catalog, like like lookbook, and it might have been better as a GQ lookbook, like a visual lookbook.
You're right. It really does feel like those inserts in like a magazine at the airport. Like it's like, oh fuck, I guess I'll read Elle today, and you open it up and it's just John David Washington in a
he's like in a suit jumping for some reason,
right, on like a boat that you didn't know existed.
Yeah,
like the boats in this movie, which are cool, which are
great.
Yeah, rich people shit. There's a lot of rich people shit in this movie,
like a James Bond movie. It's like also like I don't know. John David Washington is the Black James Bond we were promised and never got.
Right,
and like I don't know, Elizabeth Debicki is like a good Bond girl because she's better than most Bond girls because she does a lot more than most Bond girls. She has an arc.
She gets a redemption, not a redemption, but she gets her fuck you bad guy moment.
Yeah, and she like has effect on the plot.
Yeah.
and she's not just there to get rescued, although she does get rescued. But she plays an active part in it. So that's like, she is a Bond. She is like an attractive woman who James Bond has a relationship with, but she does more than the average Bond girl, which is nice.
Yeah.
John David Washington is like a very interesting kind of Bond type. He's very stoic, and often he's sometimes kind of funny. Like, he does have jokes.
He has that dry sense of like, he's not pushing the funny, but like when someone does something that he can like smirk at, he'll do it, and that's like very Bond.
Yeah. It feels a lot like a James Bond movie in between all of this nonsense.
All the time stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's the thing. Well, that's the.
I mean, Arpats is Felix Leiter. Like,
yeah. I mean, Arpats is so good in this. I mean,
he might be my favorite actor. I think.
We've talked about that. I don't think he's my number one, but he's one of the most exciting actors
between
right now.
This and Good Time.
So good in Good Time.
And Twilight, a movie I enjoy, although he is maybe not actually good in it. I just like him.
I mean, you should really watch The Lighthouse. I think you would adore him.
I really need to watch.
You would
The
love
Lighthouse.
that movie.
Yeah, that's on my list of movies that I already know I like.
Yeah, I mean, and I know you just watch the fucking Lighthouse. Yeah, the Bond stuff. I want to go back to including my son because.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's what because I keep thinking like what this movie's trying to do, and like there's the whole right, like the whole world is at stake. If they reverse entropy, everybody fucking dies.
Right.
And
everybody in the past dies. I can't remember what the mechanics of that are.
I think, and this is not super well explained, that there's people in the future who are moving backwards and they're going to reverse all of time. So instead of them moving backwards to a forward world, they're just going to reverse everything, and that'll result in everyone dying with them.
So okay.
That's my interpretation. That's not clear.
I think you're right. Yeah, that makes sense. There's like a bunch of backwards people, and they want to make everything else go backwards with them, which will like sweep up the forwards people.
Right, because everything in the future is just such shit that they want to go backwards.
Right.
Because of global warming and other things.
Yeah, and in backwards time, hot is cold, so it'll be global cooling and blah.
Yeah.
The fire is cold thing made me mad.
It looks cool. It's cool
yeah. And then... Well, we can't really get too much into like mechanics that don't necessarily make sense.
The backwards people stuff.
Well, no, and the stuff in like the car chase, which is like actually the backwards car chase is one of the few backwards sequences that I thought was pretty cool.
I think it's a really like maybe the best shot in the movie is when they're driving and then forward car chase and they just see like way off in the distance a car driving backwards at them.
Yeah,
and just like the terror of like, oh god, some backward shit that we don't know is coming toward us and we can't do anything about it.
That's when this movie. I mean, this movie is at its best when there is no backward shit at all. But when there is backward shit happening, it's at its best when it's just like a hint of it. Like when you see the bullet, like just the bullet coming backwards into the gun and him looking at the gun and being confused. That's cool.
Yeah.
Then when they try to start explaining it and getting into like moving the bullets around their hands and talking about how you have to have already dropped it, then it just falls apart and it sucks. In the car chase, like... When the car is coming backwards at them through on the freeway, it's wild. But then when it gets into like them trying to like go from one car to the other, and one's backwards, one's not backwards, and who's backwards in the car or not, then it's just like nonsense again.
Yeah, I mean I think the time stuff in this movie is sort of doing two things. One, it's trying to do good action scenes, and I think we like what you just said when I said earlier, like it's too much for you to grok. Yeah. For you to like just inherently understand how awesome it is, even though it also always looks great because it's Nolan and well directed.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm trying to think of like what this movie is doing thematically with time, and I mean there's trying to move backwards. There's the nihilism of like we wasted our life and you can't really go back. There's
some stuff about relationships and how it's like the Arpats' line at the end about how this is the end of their relationship and it's beginning of theirs. Like,
right.
About there might be something about like male friendships there.
Or just all friendships and relationships that like it's all, your relationship isn't just what it is now, it's everything that happened. And I think there's
is actually Palm Springs, the whole thing with like the Kit Kat bar or the Twix bar. We're talking about how like this thing of emptiness. I don't care about everything that happened in your life before now. I care about the candy bar.
Yeah. And which he's proven wrong. It's like that's like his arc.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Tenet wants to do. But I guess I think that it's also doing all the Elizabeth Debicki stuff, also doing all the global warming stuff, all the rules, the stuff with the art. It's very kind of pushed out.
It's
like,
2 movies.
It's several movies. Certainly.
Yeah, like because like even a lot of the action sequences are really good. Okay, like theater opera fight, like opera raid.
Awesome.
Very
Opening
good.
scene, great.
So good. That
Classic.
score
Yeah.
kills it. I actually really like the score in this movie, and I'm not a score guy. Like I often my note is that I don't want to score in movies. I find them distracting and annoying, and they tell me how to feel in scenes where I can just watch the actors act.
Right.
But it's like, I don't know, it's like a Gesaffelstein song. It's like this like awesome ass like synthy coolness that I'm really into, and it just got me hyped. And then there's the fire truck heist, which is really good, happens mostly in forwards motion and is like pretty tight and is awesome. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, there's those two scenes. I guess there might be some more forward stuff.
The part where he first comes out is good. I mean, I think crashing the plane.
The plane is really good, yeah. And then the backwards guys show up and fuck it all up because they fight stupid.
Well, just because you can't understand what this is.
Because it makes no sense because it doesn't exist.
Or if it does make sense, it's like it's like I said, it's one thing to convince the audience that like you figured it out, but you got to make me grok. I keep using grok, but like that's really the issue with the movie.
Yeah,
I understand what it is, but I'm not like connecting with it on such a deep level that I'm feeling anything about.
But actually, I would say that it makes this premise itself inherently kind of makes for shitty action, because even John David Washington says it in like the beginning when he's learning about the bullet, where he's just like, "Oh, cause and effect are like reversed, or they don't exist."
Right.
Or like cause, or is that cause comes before, or effect becomes before a cause.
Right.
Which is, it fucks up the kinetics of an action sequence, because when somebody punches them, like they don't feel the impact. The impact is reversed or whatever. So like punching someone, it's like they're getting punched in a dream. It doesn't feel like it's doing anything.
Yeah.
So it's like just a fight scene is all fucked up because like they don't react to things right because it's backwards.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's visually cool, but like you said, it's just like you can't. It's not Inception with the gravity.
Yeah,
you know, and I think they're trying to do something like that. I think there's definitely like a version of this movie that's amazing.
Yeah.
I want to talk. Let's talk about our Pats and John David Washington, which is the best part of this movie. Their friendship.
Yeah, they're really fun. Like our Pats I do wonder what benefit do we get of, or I guess no, it's not what benefit do we get, because as a movie it makes sense for him to hide that he knows John David Washington, because it's like you get that moment in the end where he's like, "Oh, I've known you for all this time. This is the end of a beautiful relationship for me." But as a character, why is he doing that?
I think it's just that the movie makes this sell, and whether you buy it or not, the sell is ignorance is our strength. We can't like explain, like you just have to do the thing in the moment, because if you know if you know it's gonna work, it's not gonna work. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I guess it's kind of like if you tell somebody what's going to happen. It's like that line from The Matrix where like, what's really going to bake your noodle is if I had told you that you were going to knock over the vase, would you have still done it? Right,
exactly. And so you kind of have to make that sell that just like you're living in the moment, and like maybe it's an artsy thing where like they're trying to get at a theme. And that sort of gets into the highbrow vibe of the movie, that it's trying to just sort of not really make sense. I don't know.
It's trying to do a lot of showing, not telling.
Yes, and
which is a highbrow move.
A lot of hinting, a lot of like
you'll get this one on the ride home kind of stuff.
Right, which when is good is great.
Yeah, that's very satisfying to figure out the puzzle.
Yeah,
but enraging when you find out there is no, like, the pieces never fit.
But like, how good the two best scenes in the movie are when R. Pattinson is explaining to John David Washington, like, you know, this was this whole big idea, and he's like, "Who came up with this?" And Pattinson says, "Oh, you did." And they just like fucking Predator style, just like grab hands in like super fun manly way, and just like smiling and shit, like bros just did some cool shit. And I'm like, that's fun. That's good. Like, that's a relationship where these characters are like care about each other. And the end of the movie where Pattinson is walking away from John David Washington for the last time, and he's like, and John David Washington's like, "We're friends," and he's like, "We get up to some stuff."
Yeah, that's fun.
It's a great line. It's like what the movie should be about, is that like
I wanted just a TV show that's just them doing stuff in forwards motion.
Right. Things end and things begin, but like they had this connection, and whether they're gonna, you know, your experience of time might not be linear. You know, you look back and remember. I don't know. I can't make it make sense thematically, but like their friendship should be the heart of this thing.
Yeah.
And it's there, but there's not enough.
And also, really, like, Elizabeth Debicki and John David Washington feels like they want it to be the emotional center of the movie, but I'm also kind of like, I don't buy that he's so infatuated, that he's like so in love with her so quickly.
Right. Yeah. He's very much like well, he's the CIA guy.
At first he's using her, but then it seems like
immediately he's like, oh, she's in trouble, I have to save her.
And he seems to like be in love with her.
Even if he's not, and that wasn't my take.
Maybe not, yeah. But he definitely feels like he has to save her. He must save her.
This woman is in peril.
And she's more important than his real mission.
Right. And the issue with that is if the stakes are, and I'm quoting, worse than nuclear holocaust, and I want to point out, I wouldn't say anything's worse than nuclear holocaust. At best, it's a lateral move.
Yeah.
Then it's the fucking including my son logic. You got to save everybody if you're going to save her too.
And if he's like this like cold calculating operator, he should know that.
Yeah. The whole reason he gets recruited to Tenet is that he's such a hardcore CIA dude that he was willing to take a cyanide pill.
Yeah.
And then so with him to just sort of with no
and we don't have a scene of them like getting to know each other.
We don't have a scene of him being like, oh, and this is a hacky fix. Oh, him being like, oh, my mom was 6'3", so I have this connection to the 6'3", you know? Like,
yeah. No, but actually like
and the movie doesn't want to do that because that's not what this movie does. But if that's not what the movie's doing, you gotta make some kind of sell that why this character is breaking the mission that is worse than nuclear holocaust.
I know, and at least like with Arpats, like they do a lot of stuff together. They go on a bunch of missions where they're doing stuff and they kind of have some fun dialogue.
Yeah.
With Debicki, he kind of shows up, fucks her life up, promises to fix it, she finds out he did not fix it, and then he goes to her husband, he's like, hey, what's up? Like, I got my meeting on. He's like, I'm going to shove your balls in your mouth. He's like, fuck you. And then he's just like, you know what? How do you like opera? And the guy's like, never mind, you're my guy.
Can we talk about, let's talk about Kenneth Branagh as the bad guy.
Doing some good work, man.
It's so good. It's somehow a really understated, menacing
it's a weird performance.
Without also being like, I mean, it's his quote, like, I've swim in the river of Ham.
Yeah.
It's like Kenneth Branagh, I think, is a brilliant actor. He's done a lot of great Shakespeare adaptations, but obviously has also been extraordinarily hammy in his, I mean, like his Hercule Poirot in Murder on the Orient Express is like very much in that vein. In this movie, he's so just like gross.
Yeah.
And aggressively mean in that way that like really, really, really rich people can be.
And he's just like toying with this woman out of pure spite,
just pure hatred towards the idea of being
sells
alive.
It yeah,
and he's great, and it's like, I think that's like a cool villain. I think it's a cool choice, and I think it's a cool choice to make a villain that is like not fun. I think villains now are all pretty like they're all like Loki, who I like, but like it's very much like they're very theatrical, they're very fun, they're very like, oh, you're kind of on their side, and I counterintuitively, I like that this movie is just like, no, this guy just fucking sucks.
Yeah.
He's pure fucking evil. He doesn't really have much of a redeeming quality. You understand how he got there because he's like been irradiated.
It is also interesting to see somebody be the abuser in an abusive relationship and they make no attempt to try to humanize him at all.
Right.
Which is, I mean, in this case, I like that move a lot. Like, because a lot of movies, I feel like kind of the hot take is like, oh, he has kind of his own...
He was abused.
Internal... Yeah, he has his own... He is also a person,
right.
Which is like how real life is.
Yeah.
But this being a movie, it's kind of nice to just be like, he's evil and abusers are evil.
Yeah.
And just let him be that. I don't want to have to like grapple with him as a human being. I want him to be a snarling villain.
Right. I think it's really underrated that this movie does that. I think it works with this theme of like these just like a nihilistic future people, like everything, my life sucks, so I'm gonna make everything else suck too.
Yeah, and I do. Yeah, if this movie has one thing going for it, it's just like abusers, fuck them, they have no humanity. Look at this guy, he was such a piece of shit. I don't want you to empathize with him at all. And I'm like, fuck yeah, fuck that guy and fuck people like him.
I think that's good. I think it's a hard thing to do in a movie effectively because it can come off as one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Like you think, okay, three-dimensional villain means you have to empathize. No. Three-dimensional villain just means you understand like their psyche.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you have to Like
I don't have to excuse it at all.
some people are just fucking rotten.
Yeah. Fuck this guy. And he's
The best movie of all time, Malignant, makes a similar point to this.
a movie you saw 2 days ago.
Yes, it's. I hope by the time people have hear this podcast, they will have discovered that absolutely bug nuts, like legendarily insane movie. And it makes a similar point that some people are just bad.
Yeah. Yeah, like we don't have to understand the humanity in all people. We can just kind of be like, fuck some people.
Yeah, if you do these bad things, you're bad.
Yeah.
If you try and destroy the entire world using a shake weight, you're bad.
Yeah. All right. Here's an interesting tie back to Palm Springs.
Okay.
J.K. Simmons repeatedly tortures. He waterboards, sets on fire, and like they really get into the fact that like he feels this emotional pain and it stays with him.
Yeah.
And like J.K. Simmons has repeatedly tortured this man in a very sadistic way. And then weirdly, we never really grapple with that.
Well, he's punished for it because he dies slowly in the ICU.
Right.
And
that's when he finally understands what he was doing.
Right.
But I guess he just never really made the like kind of like conceptual leap that Andy Samberg made, which is that like the memory of the pain comes back even if you come back to life without any physical scars.
Right. And I thought also that I think Roy J.K. Simmons is like doesn't care. I mean, he's just so mad that he's stuck there.
Yeah.
At first, and then eventually, like the dying slowly gives him a new perspective.
Yeah.
On like the day.
Well, because I think he's bought into the idea that if it resets, it's like a blank slate. Nothing, like literally nothing you do counts at all, including torturing this guy. But the funny thing is, like, nothing you do to like the normies in the world counts, even though it does.
Yeah.
But to specifically to Andy Samberg, it very much does count.
Right. It actually, like, he has to remember that.
He should wake up screaming every morning because he's been repeatedly killed and tortured over and over.
I mean, he's been there a long time.
I like the detail that he's like, he doesn't know how old he is. He doesn't know how long he's been there. He's forgotten parts of his original life.
Right.
Also, can you imagine when they actually go to their real life, how fucked up he's going to be?
Oh, yeah. If he doesn't actually know what his like job is.
He doesn't know his job. He's like...
He knows he has a dog. He knows where he lives.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's also in that moment, you can make an argument that maybe that character just has a boring job and doesn't want to reveal it to the girl he likes.
Also, isn't he? He's on shrooms at that moment.
Yeah.
So
it's also that.
Yeah.
But definitely like he does. There is some funny mental stuff going on with him that he has some like lasting effects of being that just that old.
Yes. And like the fact that like when she goes to the happy millionth birthday, he's like it's the one time where he actually feels like affected by something someone said. Where he's just like, I'm not that old, am I?
Yeah. And then when he's like, I like the detail. He's like, I don't really know how often Roy comes around.
Oh yeah, he's like, yeah, he lives in Irvine, so he only dries up every couple of days. It's a great line. It's so funny. It's so good.
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons is hilarious. He's, I wouldn't say like one of my favorite actors to see and stuff.
He's
like
great.
One of those guys that like anytime in a movie I hear his voice is because I
played-
watch a lot of cartoons and he's in a lot of cartoons.
right.
Yeah, he does a lot of voice acting.
He plays menacing very well because
yeah.
Whiplash, he's like an all-time great villain kind of.
Oh yeah, I mean legendary performance that we'll talk about soon.
Yeah.
He's so, and it's so funny. The line,
And J. Jonah Jameson.
he's so good. Well, I know we can't keep doing the lines in this movie because it's just like
There's so many. I've seen it so many times. I could just do them all.
I can't imagine our listeners are going to be like, "Oh yes, I definitely want to sit here and listen to Cooper and Josh recite every good joke from Palm Springs." I'd rather
Here, let me take my script out. Flip, 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 flip.
It's great. It's a good weird character. I think J.K. Simmons' character is good as that thing of just the weird ass people you meet at weddings. The fact that he's so willing to just rage with Andy Samberg the one time they party.
Yeah, I do like that he has kind of like a real big heel turn moment. Like you see him before he becomes in the loop, and he's just kind of like a boring shithead.
Yeah,
who's like looking at, is like, is this tuna? And he's like, oh, wait, we're gonna say the line. He's like, I like your hat. He's like, of course you do.
That was the line.
Oh my god,
you're right. I will say, if there's one thing the movie is like not perfect at, and this is something that's like more lowbrowy, and that just things get tied up with a bow, is that you're right. Like he has done such horrifying things that like giving him the buyback of Irvine is like, it's a buy. You got to make. It's not just again not a bad move. Something that you do in this kind of movie, but like that's an argument for the lowbrow of it. Of that, things wrap up, things move smoothly towards the end. You even have to give him a little bit of a hint of like, oh, he'll get out of there too. Yeah.
And I mean, like, to be fair, that's also a thing that I didn't think of until now. Like it never bothered me while watching the movie. And also like it's really his sin is that he didn't like grasp a fairly complex concept, which is like basically it's kind of like whatever Peter Singer, his type of ethics, like the practical ethics, anyway, where it's like pain, like how like suffering is like an entity in the world, and like you want to try to reduce the amount of suffering, but like the idea that like suffering is a type of like suffering is like a natural resource or something. Like it is like an energy that is like created and it's like pollution.
Right.
Making more of it is bad, so we want to reduce how much of it we make. So the fact that he is making suffering, even if it gets erased, the fact that he has made it is bad.
Yeah. Which he's not getting, but like
and then he does get it.
Yeah, because it happens to him.
Yeah.
You know. He is really great. Just like the sheer sadism of that character is funny. I don't know, like when he visits him in Irvine, he's just like an intense fucking dude. It's a good joke.
Yeah.
Like fucking J.K. Simmons being intense is just,
it's great.
It's music to my ears.
He's good at it.
What else? I mean, there's the weird things of the scene in the desert when they're on mushrooms is kind of interesting. Like that's, I think, the one scene in the movie that feels like it comes out of like a more highbrow. It's where they're willing to kind of like be a little more ambiguous.
But also being on mushrooms in Palm Springs, very classic Palm Springs stuff they're doing. They're really checking all the boxes for Palm Springs.
I mean, like I said, this movie should be called Joshua Tree, not Palm Springs. It feels more like Joshua Tree to me.
Yeah.
But also like it does feel like Palm. Like the movie, I think the writer and director spoke about how they really like Palm Springs. Like I think like, you know, the fact like, oh, wouldn't it be horrible to be trapped in Palm Springs day after day? But I think they actually genuinely kind of dig that place. And I think the movie makes Palm Springs look kind of nice and kind of interesting. I like the weird vibe of the people out there. Looking at the dinosaurs is great.
I will actually say also, I just looked it up. The type of ethics I was talking about was utilitarianism. Oh, yeah. Just to correct myself because I had a brain fart and forgot it. But I will say about the dinosaur scene, I think the first time I saw it, I didn't see the dinosaurs because that scene's very dark.
They're very dark, yeah.
Like the color correction is just weird on that one scene.
I think they want them to be a little hard to see. It's supposed to be like a little bit like shroominess in the distance.
Yeah, maybe that would have played better in a theater or something.
Maybe. I caught it when I watched it.
Yeah, I think I just happened to miss it the first time I watched it, and then later on I did.
Yeah.
And actually, do you remember the dinosaurs show up again in the credits?
Scene, yeah. That just feels like a little bit of a hint of like, you know, there's magic in this place. Yeah. You know, like we don't have to explain everything. It's just like a hint of like the weird magic of like going to Palm Springs and meeting cool people. Yeah. Which I do kind of dig. I mean, there's that weird. Is the grandma anything? Because the grandma has a line.
She talks about how she's been to a lot of weddings.
And then she has the lines like, I guess you'll be leaving us soon.
Oh, yeah. That one, I'm sure you could have a fun reading on it. It kind of just felt like being mysterious for the sake of being mysterious. But I didn't dislike that.
It's stuff like that adds to the tone. I mean, that's the more highbrow. That's what I'm talking about, flirting with the highbrow of it, of like adding in these weird little like at the real hints.
Yeah, it's funny that's a thing that if they did that in Tenet, I'd be yelling about it right now. But because the rest of Palm Springs is so good, delightful. I kind of just give it a free pass.
And some other notes I made on Palm Springs. The music choices are weird
and very good. I actually added the Barracuda song. It's like the ocean will take us all. Yeah, that song. I just added to my playlist and I've been listening to it a lot lately. It's a great song.
Yeah, I think that like at first I spent like a not insignificant amount of time yesterday trying to like read meaning into some of the song. Like when Niles realizes he's in love with Kristen Milotti, and there's a shot of her from the birthday party. The song they're playing is "The Partisan" by Leonard Cohen, which is a song about Germans invading France during World War II. Huh. Yeah, it's a great song. Yeah. Not a Cohen original, just it's him covering like a French song written by the French about how they were invaded by the Germans. Yeah. I could not find a reason for it except that it just sounds good in that moment.
They just had a good music supervisor.
It's just a good needle drop. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the other one is Kate Bush in the scene where they kiss as they escape from Hounds of Love, which is a perfect album. And it again, I couldn't find like a reason that it made sense. It's just a good drop.
And like that, there's like when Andy Samberg is dancing, I think it's just like some public domain dance song they have, but it like works really well.
That scene is so funny. He's so funny.
It's so good.
Weird little thing I noticed that the scene where he's talking about all the different stuff all people's tried to sleep with. Yeah. He tried to sleep with the bride. Mm-hmm. He cuts in on the first dance. He's wearing a tie. He's wearing the same like goofy Tommy Bahama shirt and bathing suit, but there's just like a little
He dressed up for this plan.
Yes. The movie's full of those like tiny little details.
Well, and also like when J.K. Simmons runs into like reset Andy Samberg at the end, and he's like how he originally was at the wedding, he has a full suit on.
Yeah.
It's just that he's progressed over time to like, he's like, I'm not going to put on a suit every day. I'm just going to wear my shit.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. So you see at the first wedding he wore his.
yeah, he wore appropriate clothing, and presumably he has it in that room and he could wear it at any time.
And he chooses
like, I'm
not
not
to.
going to do that.
Yeah. Oh, very funny movie.
Yeah.
Very good movie.
What a delightful film. I'll probably watch it again next week.
You might watch it tonight.
I might.
I have other notes, just like all the weird little details. There's a lot of hints that Sarah is sleeping with the groom throughout.
Oh yeah.
When she wakes up for the first time, you
see
can
the
see
bathroom.
You see his shirt? There's his shirt is on like the bedside thing.
Oh, okay.
Or there's like a man's shirt.
Yeah.
She looks at the bathroom. Peter Gallagher mentioned she wasn't in her bed that morning. When she's running away from the busted tooth, she opens the door and he's there, and they both kind of freeze.
Oh,
which could just
interesting.
be like, they were both surprised to see each other.
Yeah.
But like obviously not. There's a lot of little stuff like that I think is cool. It's just like just a tight movie. I mean, came out during COVID. That was great. There's all that discourse about like, oh, we all feel like we're living the exact same day, and now there's this movie about it. And I hated that discourse because I did not feel like I was living the same day during COVID.
No, me neither.
We were
stuck
trapped
in the same place, but
right. But every day was radically different and terrifying because we didn't know what was happening.
Those
out there.
think pieces were just written by people who like are boring and didn't think to do stuff. Like,
well, the thing is, like, even if you're not doing stuff, like the whole thing like that, you're stuck in living the same day after day, so just do whatever. Whereas COVID was scary. Like I don't know, like imagine it was Palm Springs the movie and it's day after day, but also like people are dying and you don't know anything and you can't ever get settled. Like I feel like what's scary about being trapped is not the same as what being trapped in a time loop. I feel like it's different elemental fears.
yeah, that's true.
I've been holding in that rant for about a year and a half now. And I needed to just fucking let it out to nobody.
Yeah.
Nolan is so good at filming shit. It's with Hoyt Van Hoytama, who's been his DP for a couple of years now. Everything. I don't know how no one else can like his style. I don't even know what it is. Everything's so stark, and it's just so interesting.
Yeah.
The way he analog, which is why they made the MacGuffin a shake weight.
Oh my. Okay, yeah, we were yelling about this in the office.
Yeah.
Like, why are the pieces of the algorithm like barbells? Like, it's so like okay. If anything, it should be a flash drive.
Yeah,
But
it's a bunch
really,
of
it should be
information.
an even smaller flash drive because they come from the future and they should be smaller.
Right. So the idea is the scientists came up with the idea of reversing all entropy.
Yes.
And algorithm was so scary they broke it up into 9 parts.
Yes.
And turned them into physical objects.
Right.
Now,
a hard drive.
They just said So the
An algorithm is just a piece of math. It has to be some sort of hard drive or something.
Exactly. So that's it. There's like 3 levels of like shit they should have explained there. One would have been fine. Like, okay, how do you turn a mathematical concept into an object? How do you
save it on a hard drive.
Right, but no, this person did not. So what is that? Can you read it? Does assembling them blow things up? What is it an algorithm that teaches a machine how to do? Like,
yeah. Also, I don't. That's not how I understand algorithms to be. Like, what do you do with the algorithm? That's like I took the Google algorithm and I made it into a barbell, and if I put these 2 pieces together, it will have all the searching power of Google. I'm like, cool.
Right.
Do you plug it into a computer to do that? Like,
and I wanted something more to hold on to because it's a very highbrow, cool move when a movie is willing to not explain everything and just say this is how it works. But that only works if there's a ramification of that. Like 12 Monkeys, incredible time travel movie.
Yeah.
That doesn't really explain how all the mechanics work necessarily.
yeah.
But it doesn't have to because when it's doing stuff you don't quite understand, it's telling a story about someone who's losing their mind.
Yeah. Same thing with Looper.
Yeah, Looper, same thing.
Looper has that specific moment where it's like, don't worry about the technology. It's like, I don't know. It's the same way. Like, I don't really know how a silicon chip works, but I like know how to use it.
Right. If you tell me not to worry about it, I have to be able to enjoy the movie now having not worried about it.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Tenet is like, sometimes says don't worry about it, but then is like, better hope you idiots are paying attention because things are about to get pretty complicated.
Oh man, they're just standing around holding just what looks like Thor's hammer in the middle of like a
giant
desert.
shake weight, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, fuck this and these people.
Funny, that's a scene I like except for the shake weight.
Yeah.
Like, because it's kind
Oh
of
no, yeah, it's yeah.
Because
And
it's them, and then it's Aaron Taylor Johnson's like, okay. I mean, and this is a really cool idea that they just really lied. Is Aaron Taylor Johnson says, everyone takes a third, and then you kill yourself.
Right.
And if you don't, if I see
will
you,
kill you.
I will kill you. And they're like, you're not going to look for us though, right? It's like, no, I will. I will fucking
And
kill you.
and they're also like, we're not actually going to kill ourselves, right? He's like, I know, that's why I'm going to find you and kill you.
And they're just kind of like laughing it off. Like,
Yeah.
that's a really exciting, interesting thing that movie just seems to not care about, or the movie doesn't give the time it needs.
Yeah, it's like a good setup for something else. We haven't talked about the big final battle scene at all, which the first time around I liked.
I think it's fine. I think it's
Backwards
like
explosions kind of worked for me more than other backwards stuff.
I think it works because it's making you do they're so chaotic in general. I didn't feel bad if I missed things, whereas in some of the other scenes, it felt like if I didn't get it, I was dumb.
And weirdly, because it has like a very finite like start and end point, it's like it's 10 minutes. Some people start from the beginning and go to the end. Some people start from the end and go to the beginning. Mm-hmm. It doesn't get into the ramifications like, okay, if these people have been going backwards for years, what the fuck have they been doing all that time or whatever?
Yeah.
It's like very small and discreet.
Yeah.
Which is when this kind of stuff works. Like the bullet going backwards. The bullet going backwards works because like, okay, it's like comes from the wall to the gun.
Yeah.
I can understand things going backwards for that long of a time. For 10 minutes, people going backwards and forwards is like kind of understandable.
Yeah.
But on like the grand scale of like years and years, it's like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah. It's a lot. And it's I don't know. The last scene was fine to me. I mean, it's not the most exciting. Oh, no, I did enjoy it. I think it was not one of the central set pieces of the movie like some of the other stuff was.
It's not as memorable.
Right. So I'm thinking about like that part because I'm thinking about the end of the movie now. I think the stuff with Neil obviously is great. Robert Pattinson and their friendship, the whole sort of reveal that he's the guy who dies.
Yeah, with the little keychain.
Yeah, it feels unneeded that it needed to be there because you figure it out and they keep revealing it. I think it is a really good story beat. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jess made the point that she really liked the fan theory that Elizabeth Debicki's son is
Sador?
Is Robert Pattinson.
Oh, yeah. Which would make sense. Yeah, I have seen that fan theory. It's not provable. Like it's not like that's something that was like baked in that like Nolan wants you to find. It's just like a fun fan theory.
I think it makes the movie more interesting.
No, I like those kind of fan theories.
Yeah. But like, I mean, by the time you're done with 2.5 hours of Tenet, either you're just on board with it or not.
You haven't, or you've seen it.
I know, because I know there's critics who I respect who really, they're like, oh, this movie's crazy. Just shut off your mind, just shut off your brain, and enjoy the good stuff. And I'm like, well, the movie is telling me,
yelling at me to keep my brain on.
Exactly, and like I think, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think all Christopher Nolan movies are interesting. Like I said, it's more frustrating to me because I feel like there's the Bond stuff, the friendship stuff, some of the time stuff, like the idea that we've already done this. Like it basically, there's so many scenes in this movie where someone basically says, "Now you're thinking with portals," except like now you're thinking with time portals, which I dig, and I don't know. Yeah,
no, you're right. There is something there. I mean, my pitch from the beginning is always just that something. The most interesting stuff is all the non-time bullshit.
So like highbrow, lowbrow, it's like I said, I think it's trying to do a lot, and I don't think it amounts to as much. I feel like Palm Springs is trying to do quite a lot, but
it does a lot.
It does a lot, and it works really well.
Yeah.
I like we already said, Palm Springs the movie I think is better. I think a movie has more to say about time, or more effectively says more about time. Time is big and weird and scary, and I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good thing we had this podcast.
To excise this from my brain. Now I'm just not going to think about time anymore.
All right. Should we do a game?
Let's do a game. Okay. We're doing our game, as of yet unnamed game.
Yep.
What are we doing?
Okay. So I found Rolling Stone's 20 best time travel movies.
Okay.
And we're going to start off with 1 through 5, but I think it's going to be very easy. So I have a bonus round if we get through it very fast.
Okay. And I need to guess the top 5.
So yeah, off the jump, let's just see how many of them you can get without any hints. I feel like you'll probably get all of them. I'm only going to give you 5 guesses.
Okay. I'm going to say Back to the Future.
Okay, that's number 4.
I'm going to say 12 Monkeys.
That's not on there.
That's probably just me loving that movie as much as I do. Primer?
Primer is number 5.
God, Rolling Stone.
So that's 3 guesses.
That's 3 guesses. God, I feel bad that I missed on the 12 Monkeys because there's another Terry Gilliam time travel movie that I want to lean on, but I will. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
That is not one. That is your fourth guess.
Ooh, that's not good. I really thought that was going to be one of them. I'm going to say, I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to say Time Bandits.
That is 5. That is not on there.
Oh, God damn it.
Okay, so for your
too fucking artsy.
For number 1, so you got 4 and 5. For number 1, it has 96% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
From Roger Ebert's review, Roger Ebert said of this movie, quote, "I can imagine a long list of actors." Okay. I have more hints.
Give me more hints. Give me another hint.
It takes place in Pennsylvania.
Is it a M. Night Shyamalan movie?
No.
Oh, God damn it. What the fuck happened? I don't know. Man, I am fucking flaming out.
It is from 1993.
I'm getting nothing.
It stars a rodent.
What?
Famously stars a rodent.
I don't know. I don't give it to me. What is it?
It's Groundhog Day.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I was so stuck in the time travel. I forgot about time loops.
Which is funny
because
because
just
one of our movies is
about
time loop. Okay.
Okay.
Number 2. It has 93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
It is a foreign film.
Is it? It's not La Jetée?
Yes,
okay.
It is.
La Jetée
You were close. I mean, my last hint was it inspired 12 Monkeys.
Right. La Jetée, the French short film that inspired that movie. Great. If you check out La Jetée, it's great. It's like 30 minutes. It's all still photographs. I think it's like really interesting art film. And 12 Monkeys, fucking rules. Good movies.
Okay. Number 3. 93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay, I'm sensing a pattern there.
Roger Ebert's quote about this movie from his review is, quote, "It's fun for a kid having his own pet." I feel like this Roger Ebert guy has some weird takes on these movies.
I mean, Ebert was an interesting man. I the single greatest film critic ever, but also he had his stuff.
Next one. It stars a politician.
Like, as in the character as a politician, or like an actual politician is in this movie?
Not going to tell you.
Okay, is it Terminator 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Say the full title.
Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. That's the thing about time travel movies is that I'm trying to imagine someone goes back in time and does a thing, and those movies are Timeline or The Time Machine, movies that I think are not well regarded, but the really good time travel movies you don't think of as time travel movies.
Yeah, and there's also movies that there is time travel in a pivotal moment.
Right.
But it's not necessarily all time travel.
Right. Terminator 2, the time travel happened immediately at the beginning, and the rest of the movie is just an action movie.
Yeah, it's about a guy from the future, but then the rest of it's just a movie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Damn. Tough stuff.
All right. So then bonus round.
Okay.
I have 20 through 15. We're going to do them in reverse order.
Okay. This is exciting. Okay. What are we doing?
Okay. Number 20.
Okay.
86% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is where the Rotten Tomatoes ratings get a little bit more useful.
Okay.
From Ebert's review, quote, "I could tell you what I think happens at the end and what this movie is about."
I'm assuming the rest of the quote is but it wouldn't matter, or but who cares?
All right. It stars a brother and sister.
Donnie Darko?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Good movie. Good movie. I haven't seen it since high school. I know I talk a lot about Southland Tales and The Box, which are the other Richard Kelly movies, which I've weirdly seen more recently.
I need to watch Donnie Darko again. I feel like that's a movie that every 14, 15-year-old boy loves, and when you get older, you're like, that movie must not be as good as I thought it was. It's probably pretty pretentious, but it might be fun.
I think it's fun. I think what works so well about that movie is the pretentious stuff is so ungraspable that it doesn't sink with the core of the movie, the feelings of that movie. You just sort of okay, I'm not going to understand why this weird shit's happening, but I understand how it's making everyone feel and what it's.
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember really digging it, and I really ride for Southland Tales and The Box.
Nice.
Both good movies.
All right, number 19, 35% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Ooh, and this is on the roll. Okay,
this is in the top 20 time travel movies.
Time travel is hard,
which is funny because it's 19 and Donnie Darko is 86 and it's 20. But whatever.
I didn't realize Donnie Darko was that well regarded when it came out too. I thought it kind of built, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good movie.
Okay, 35%.
Okay.
Ebert, his hot take on this was, quote, "Dogs live outside of time, don't you think?"
Can I get a year?
2006.
2006. Dogs live outside of time. Fuck. No idea.
Okay, the stars had previously starred in a movie together.
It's like one of those things where like they're really well known for being in another movie, and they're like, it's like
Yes.
these two are back together.
Yes.
Is it a man and a woman, or is
Yes.
man and a woman? Is it a romantic movie?
Yes.
The dogs live outside of time.
I think you're going to discover that the Ebert quotes are not very helpful
at all. The Lake House?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I don't fucking know. Is there a dog in the Lake House?
I think yes. I think there must be a dog in like one scene, and Ebert just wanted to talk about it.
I didn't know these Ebert things were just a prank you're playing on me because how much I love him as a critic. Go on. What do we got?
I'm just trying to paint Ebert as a like insane person.
I think he was just like had this. I think a lot of like headies, some genre stuff especially, he just kind of like slid right by him. So we tried to just be like, I acknowledge you people like this thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
18, 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
All right, that's good.
Ebert, in his review of this film, said, quote, "I've just returned from London."
Oh man, that's not really helpful at all, is it?
Okay, it's from 2004.
2004. Trying to think of like big movies in that year.
I think in the next hint will probably give it to you.
All right, yeah, I think you're gonna have to give it to me. I don't know.
It stars a werewolf.
Really?
Yes.
I'd been. No, sorry, I'm not getting anything.
It is a fantasy film.
A fantasy film starring a werewolf that involves time shit.
Based on a book.
You're gonna have to give it to me. I'm just completely
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Time's weird, man. Like I don't.
I think you're really
of it.
getting thrown off by the Ebert quotes, and I'm enjoying it.
I think you're right, but also that time travel. It's just the point. Time travel is hard to do. It's hard to build a whole movie around time shit.
Well,
you just kind of have to sprinkle it in
To
there.
be fair, the time travel in that movie only comes up in the third act. It's
Right.
like the third act solve is that she's just had that time turner the whole time.
Right, and they do Terminator rules where like it happened, so it happened, so it happened, so it happened.
Yeah, and I think they maybe have like hints peppered in earlier on that there was time travel going on.
Yes, well, yeah, because they give it to her to. It's like
so she can study more or something.
right. It's like the biggest plot hole in Harry Potter. I think the Harry Potter fans acknowledge that like how powerful that device is that they never go back to it. Like,
Yeah.
why not go back and save the Potters? And I don't know. I got to say I have not kept up with the Potter of it all
The Potterverse.
since I read the last book. Movies are good. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a Harry Potter. Is there a highbrow wizard movie?
Yeah, I bet there is. Some King Arthur stuff maybe.
I feel like every King Arthur I can think
Pretty
of is like pretty
lowbrow.
lowbrow. They're like action movies. I mean, well, the Green Knight, but like we should do like Green Knight
That's
Knight's
not
Tale.
about a wizard exactly.
No.
Green Knight Knight's Tale sounds very fun.
Yeah, we should definitely do that. But like,
Highbrow wizard. I mean, fantasy is pretty lowbrow usually. It's a genre thing.
yeah, like the closest I
Lord of
can.
the Rings almost, but it's still pretty lowbrow.
I think you could do Lord of the Rings as highbrow, but also that movie's not like about wizards. It has a wizard in it.
Yeah. I mean, The Prestige.
That would be kind of fun.
Magic.
Magic.
There is real life magic in that movie.
That's true. That movie's really good.
I love that. That's probably my favorite Nolan movie. I don't know. I don't think I acknowledge it as the best Nolan movie, but I think it's my personal favorite.
I go lean on Dark Knight. I think for a while I had that opinion, but I think I rewatched Dark Knight like a few years ago. And like I know it's the normie opinion, but that movie just
It's great.
rules so hard.
Sometimes there's a reason for that.
Yep.
All right, 17. 52% on Rotten Tomatoes. Ebert describes it as, quote, a film with a lot of babes. It stars Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer?
Yeah. Is in this film. He's a star in this film.
Is it Austin Powers?
Say the full title.
International Man of Mystery?
No.
Spy Who Shagged Me.
Yes.
Come on. I'm taking that as a full victory.
Yeah. This one, I don't know if you're going to get. Okay. It's from 1988. 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. There is no Ebert review of it. It's a foreign film. And I give you the director, but...
Can I get the country?
Oh shit. I think it's French. No, it's not. It's from New Zealand.
Oh. Okay, give me the director.
Vincent Ward.
I had no idea. You're going to tell me what this
The
thing is.
Navigator, A Medieval Odyssey.
I don't know what the fuck
I've
that
never
is.
heard of it.
We got to watch it.
Yeah.
Movies about navigators, highbrow, lowbrow.
Master Commander.
Is this one lowbrow? Do we know?
I don't know.
If this one's highbrow, is there a lowbrow Navigator movie?
Lowbrow Navigator movie. Lighthouse? No, that's highbrow.
Also, they're not really Navigator.
They're kind of the opposite of Navigator.
They're just sort of screaming and pooping and stuff.
But the Lighthouse helps navigators.
I mean, that movie, the Lighthouse, just drives those guys insane. It doesn't help anybody do anything.
I mean, road trip movies are about navigators.
That's true. Yeah, we can do Euro Trip in the Navigator.
Okay, here's another one. I think you might be able to get this one.
Okay.
All right. 86% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
Ebert, quote, "It's like visiting a cemetery." It was originally going to star Deborah Winger and be directed by Jonathan Demme.
Oh, interesting. What year?
1986.
86. Like visiting a cemetery.
Again, I think you might be wise to ignore the Ebert quotes.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of I'm more thinking of like the Winger and Demme, like who would have taken over for them.
I have one more hint, but I think I'll just give it to you.
Yeah, give me the hint.
The title is a Buddy Holly song.
Oh no, I'm not getting it. I'm only thinking of like Every Day as a Buddy Holly song. Is that what it's called?
It's Peggy Sue Got Married.
Oh, actually, that's just one of those movies that's just a blind spot for me.
I've heard the title, and that's really all I know about it. And that is 15 through 20 of the Rolling Stone Top 20.
That was tough.
Yeah,
I
think
really
I maybe
tough.
made it harder.
Maybe. I think it was definitely fun. Definitely better than the one that I did last week. We should do this again.
Yeah, I'm having fun with this.
It was good, and I think it sort of drives on the point that time travel is weird and dumb and hard to tell stories in.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of time travel movies, but there's not a lot of like super strong ones. And also, it is a device that confounds plot structure.
Right. And it just, yeah, if the audience is constantly like, drawn diagrams, you lose them. That's sort of what we talked about with Tenet a little bit, and like something like Looper doesn't do, something like 12 Monkeys doesn't do. I guess to me, 12 Monkeys is probably the best, but I mean, Groundhog Day and Back to the Future are also really great.
Oh, of the top 5?
I'm just thinking of time travel movies in general.
Yeah, I would. I mean, Back to the Future I'd put way up there.
Mm-hmm. Man, time travel is tough. Interesting.
It's very hard.
Have you ever felt the desire to write anything involving time travel? I cannot say I ever have.
I don't know if I've had a unique take on it.
Yeah, same here.
And also, my like hot take is that like no time travel movie ever makes sense. So I feel like whenever I have the impulse to like include time travel in something, I kind of ran it back and I'm like, it's not going to make sense. It's going to be annoying.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to do it to like do the Terminator of it all, of like time, time to get a character to a new place, time travel to get a character to a new place. But like, I don't know, the wibbly wobbly stuff is just not the thing I always got to. We're going a little long, but quick recs. Anything you're watching, seeing, doing?
You go first. Let me think.
Yeah, not much for me. Just that I'm watching. Me and Jess are watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and it's great. And just speaking of Andy Samberg, the finale is tomorrow as of this recording. So I probably should have done this next week, but it is mostly what we're watching. And it's a really fun, lovely show. And Andre Braugher is like a god to me. Like he's so funny in that, and one of our great actors. And I don't know, check it out. It's on for like 10 years, and they're doing fine. That's not like a small thing that needs your money. They're doing great.
I mean, mine is not. This isn't even that recent for me. But I read The Big Sleep, the book.
Great book.
Very good book. Hated the movie.
We talked about that. I disagree, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I think it's a movie that maybe I don't know if it helps to watch the movie before you read the book, or just pick one.
Yeah,
just pick one or the other. Either watch the movie, never read the book. Read the book, never watch the movie.
One of my favorite books. Raymond Chandler, one of my favorite writers. Very much endorse that.
Love them.
Yeah, and read books. Books are good. Watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Brooklyn Nine-Nine's good. And while I'm telling you what to do, rate, review, and subscribe. Keep listening. We got some good stuff coming up for you. And goodbye forever. Goodbye forever.
Bye forever.